Sounds good.
All right, guys. Welcome back to episode number 4 of the Elevated Podcast. On today's episode, we have a local photographer, actually from Sacramento, California, now local to the Reno area. His name is Vinnie Riley. Before I introduce you to him, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Check out our Instagram. Make sure you guys also follow us and like our episodes on Pandora, Spotify, and Apple Music, right? iTunes. So, Vinnie Riley.
What's going on? It's nice to be here.
Hell yeah, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Oh, man. Well, like you said, I'm Sacramento based. Moved out here in the middle of 2019. So I've been out here for almost 2 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's time to change up the scene.
Yeah.
There just really wasn't nothing going on in Sacramento for me anymore.
Right.
So started coming out here. Of course, I have family and friends out here and stuff. But then going to the local bars and the clubs, saw that they needed photography work. There was really no social media presence for these spots that I was going to.
Okay.
So turned in a portfolio, went from there, and eventually started doing jobs out here. Started at the rack. I did some stuff at docks, shifters, the stick, and I even did a few jobs for the U.
Okay.
So, and then wanting to move out here before even thinking about the photography scene, just that helped the whole progress of moving out here.
Okay.
Nice. So, how long have you been doing photography?
Started in 2015.
Oh, shit.
So
Okay.
I'm pushing 6 years right now.
Nice.
Everything's self-taught. Of course, I've watched a couple YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I've read a book. But other than that, it was, hey, let's pick up the camera and learn how to do it.
Start shooting and see where it goes. Yeah.
Yep.
So, what made you want to do it?
Honestly, I've had, the passion for art and creativity my whole life. I used to draw and stuff like that. I even did tattooing for a little bit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then, when I was younger, I wanted to do photography, but my parents didn't necessarily have the money to start that for me.
Yeah. It's expensive.
It definitely is expensive. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's an investment for sure. What did you start with?
So like photography wise or camera?
Both, yeah.
Honestly, starting photography, I was using not a Nikon, a Canon.
Okay.
Because I was shooting with some friends.
Yeah.
And then I just, hey, I'm gonna go buy a Canon. A Nikon.
Yeah.
Do something a little different than what my friends were doing, and user friendly. Nikon's a little bit better for me, but I've used Sony, I've used Fujifilm, I've used Canon.
So
It's just working my way around the camera. Nikon's a little bit easier for me.
so that's the one you currently have and you use.
Right now I have the Nikon D610.
Oh, okay.
And then I just picked up an 85 millimeter lens. I have the Sigma 18 to 35, and I also have a 50 millimeter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are the portrait lens, huh?
Yes, and I'm working on getting a 16 to 32 millimeter.
Oh, okay.
Something with a little bit of zoom on it as well.
Okay. That's interesting, man, because like for me, when I used to do photography, man, for the short period that I did, I tried using a Nikon. I didn't really like it, man. So like the finger placement was weird to me. So like the Nikon or the Canon actually felt really natural to me, and that's the reason I went to it,
And that's where user friendly comes in, where the buttons are, where you get that movement down is where it comes in user friendly. And for me, it's just Nikon's. I've stuck with it. I would like to eventually get a Canon, get a Sony, and branch out to other cameras as well. But Nikon has just been what I've stuck with so far.
Yeah, and I think for like the most part, I would say all three of them are really competitive, and it's all about like user bases because like everybody compares it to like Chevy or Ford,
right?
Or like Pepsi and Coke. Like you're able to get everything out of any of the cameras. It's just it all depends on that person.
Well, and with a little bit of work, a little bit of knowledge and educating yourself, every camera that you use can give you that job or give you that product that you're looking for. It's again more user friendly.
Yeah, and when I was like really into it, man, I would always hear people around say like, "Oh, well, I wish I had the Canon 5D. Like, oh, I need a full frame camera. Oh, I need a really nice Sigma lens." It's like I've seen people shoot really cool creative stuff with an iPhone.
I think a lot of it comes down to editing. Like
Yeah, post-production editing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because that has like
A
how
lot
much
of it is editing, yes. But of course, coming down to your equipment, if you don't have the right pixelation, if you don't have the right lighting, your photo's not necessarily going to turn out with the quality you're looking for.
Yeah.
Because, when I first started, I bought one of those packages off of Amazon for like $500.
Yeah.
The cheapest of the cheap, and I bought a great lens that came, or I bought a great lens to go with it, and it just boosted my quality of photos right away. But at the end of the day, a full frame camera, you do get better quality. You get more of a picture versus the DX, which is you cut off your frame.
Right.
So if you try to put a DX lens on a full frame camera, when you zoom out, then you actually get a black circle in the middle of or on the outer edges of your photo. So you do cut down on your photo, hence the name full frame.
So it's just a little bit larger. Okay, and what's a good starting full frame camera? What would you recommend? Any idea?
I mean, again, it comes down to user friendly,
Yeah,
because like I said, all cameras can be great as long as you know how to work them. And then, of course, like I said, I started with a cheap camera and bought a pretty expensive lens, and that just boosted my quality right away.
So kind of use what you got to play around with and then slowly.
Well, and then going back to what Juan said, there's amazing photos that come from iPhones.
Yeah.
The quality in the iPhones nowadays is just, it makes it hard for photographers, honestly.
It does.
Because what I can do on my iPhone, I can also do on my Nikon.
Yeah.
So if you know what you're doing, again, you can get great quality.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And, me and him have actually talked about it, man, where it's like, I honestly feel like at some point cameras are going to end up being like obsolete, man.
The way phones are going nowadays, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Definitely.
Like, most people now, it's like you really don't need a camera. I mean, you could do pretty much anything with an iPhone, but I mean, with a lot of limitations, actually, man. But for the basic person or anybody who just wants to shoot some pictures, like portraits of friends and stuff, you could probably get away with it with a camera or with an iPhone.
Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, for starters, like I said, I started off with one of the packages off of Amazon for like $500.
Yeah.
You get a backpack, you get a tripod, you get a
SD
couple
card.
filters, SD cards, lenses, and the body itself.
Yeah.
So for anybody to truly just pick up and start, it doesn't really cost too much.
Yeah.
Right. So when you did get started, man, like what were you trying to shoot? Where was your focus on photography?
Anywhere I could start, really. But with the friends I was shooting with, they were doing a lot of night photography. So light trails, light painting, messing with a lot of steel wool.
That's right.
So that's where I truly started. And then going to a lot of cannabis events and doing that, just starting as a hobby. People were like, oh, hey, well, what if I pay you a couple bucks to get some photos for me? So it went from a hobby to actually becoming my own personal business.
Right.
That's cool.
That's fucking cool, man. And how did you feel like when you were first approached about it, man? Because like that's like for me, it was one of those things that was like, what? You really want me to take pictures of you, or you're gonna pay me to do that?
It was kind of the same thing for me, but I saw the opportunity, so I went full force with it. Like, hey, if I could truly make this my own business or start a business from it, let's do it.
Yeah.
And it's went from there. I've done weddings, I've done birthdays, concerts, I've done a few tattoo shops, barber shops.
Nice. Okay.
So it's definitely progressed over the years.
Yeah, and I had also seen, man, looking through your Instagram, we'll also link it and everything below, but I had seen that you had even done like pictures of like rappers, people on stage, things like that. Which one has been your favorite, man? Or how was it like your first time getting up there and doing it?
The first time I was definitely nervous, because it was more of, are the people in the concert watching me or are they watching the actual performer?
Right.
But, after the first, I'd say like 2 or 3 shows, it became like natural habit. I'm getting up there, hey, people aren't watching me. They're there to watch the performer.
Right.
I'm there just doing my job.
Right.
So it became super easy. But I'd say my funnest one was the ship show out in Alameda. They did a festival on one of the old warships.
Whoa. That's super cool.
Wyclef was there, YG was there, Wiz was there, Lauryn Hill, There was a lot of big names there, and I'd say that was probably my funnest one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because the company that actually promoted the event, I knew them through the cannabis industry. So they're like, hey, here's your media pass. You need to get your butt on stage. So I was like, hey, if you're going to tell me to go up here, cool. There's no stress about, are they going to kick me off stage? Do I have to worry about being up here? Anything like that. And so it was great, and when Wiz was on, I was the only one on stage with Wiz besides his crew.
Right.
So I'd say that was probably the funnest show or funnest concert I've ever done.
Nice. So you also mentioned that someone had got you through the Cannabis Pass and everything like that. They had introduced you to it. So is cannabis what really opened up the door for you, or what's your background with that?
Yeah, I've been in the cannabis industry for quite a while.
Okay.
And cannabis industry really opened up the photography for me because, like I said, starting as a hobby, people wanted to start paying me to do photos. So then, okay, now I can post this as a business. I can actually put my work out there showing people have hired me. And once I made business cards, it flew through the roof.
That's why I tell a few friends with businesses, you need a business card so you can just pass it on.
When it's easy promotion, like you just said, here you go. If you want to check me out, check me out. If you prefer to hire me, here's where my portfolio is. Here's all my information, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, because you could give them a website all day, but
definitely
once they go out that door and they don't remember, it's
and my first wedding came from within 2 weeks of me having my business cards.
Oh shit,
that's awesome.
And they grabbed it from a smoke shop.
Oh
yeah, the local smoke shop next to my house in Sacramento. Right after I made them, hey, do you have a spot? You mind if I set these here? 2 weeks later, I get a phone call. We would love for you to do our wedding.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's super cool.
So it's definitely power of promotion. People actually seeing that you have that business, and it's not like you said, oh, hey, here's my website, go check it out. Because by the time they leave from talking to you, they're going to forget that website.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and, especially for the price of business cards, like, you could get a few hundred or a few thousand for,
nothing. I mean, what is it? I use Vistaprint, and the quality's great. I mean, you get premium cards, and it's like $500, $250 for like $20.
Yeah.
And you upload your own image.
I went to a local print shop in Sacramento, and I think I got 1,000 business cards for like $300.
Nice.
And I actually made 2 different business cards. I made one for the cannabis industry, and then I made one for like weddings or
there you go.
birthdays.
Smart.
But the business card that I got the wedding from was actually my cannabis business card. So it kind of brought both of them together because the wedding that I did, they actually do smoke. Their family takes CBD, they have medical issues, so they actually use cannabis for medical side. And it went from there.
Yeah.
Nice.
They promoted me after I did their wedding. They loved the photos. Just wedding after wedding after wedding, and they just started popping up.
Yeah. So what did you how did you get started in the cannabis, or what is it that you did in the cannabis industry?
I mean, I've been around it for quite a while, but of course, I smoke. And not only just do I smoke, I use it for medical reasons too. I have anxiety, I have other medical issues, insomnia, a lot of body pain from past injuries. Skateboarding, just being a kid.
Yeah.
And then just going to events and getting to know certain vendors or growers, and it just went from there, putting my mark in the cannabis industry, and it just built.
Yeah, it's amazing how CBD works.
I love it.
I love it. I use it every night. I sleep like a baby, and it works. If not, I'm up until like 4 a.m.
Once I found CBD, I stepped completely away from pharmaceuticals, because again, like I said, I have anxiety, a lot of body pain, and they were trying to give me antidepressants and other painkillers and sleep medication, and it just made me a zombie. I didn't want to even be around friends. I didn't want to go to work. So then I truly did my research on CBD, and I haven't taken pharmaceuticals since.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Interesting, man.
Not only does CBD help, but if you mix THC with CBD, you get that little trifecta, and you get the relaxation, plus you get the anti-inflammatory from the CBD. So therefore, like you said, helping you sleep at night.
Yeah.
It relaxes you. It takes your mind off the pain. It actually does take the inflammation away if it is a muscle pain or a joint pain. So then it gives you that relaxation to actually enjoy your day.
Yeah.
And not focus just on the pain.
Yeah, and for the folks out there that don't know, CBD, there's no psychological effect with it.
No, you can get a cannabis-based CBD, which has very minimal THC in it. It's usually about 0.05%. But if you go hemp-based CBD, then there's absolutely no THC. For the people that are worried about passing drug tests or don't want to get high, there is no high to it. There's no psychoactivity with pure CBD. So therefore, like, you don't have to get high from it. You don't have to worry about passing a drug test. And you can actually go about your day not worrying about getting high. So it's great.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me, man, how, like, I mean, especially for, like, you, California is like the pioneer, and they're really like the first ones pushing everything cannabis related, and especially in Northern California, man. I mean, I'm sure you're in the forefront of seeing everything happening. They're the first ones to legalize it. And now, I mean, just where CBD alone has taken it, it's ridiculous. I mean, you could go anywhere and pretty much pick it up, any corner store, any liquor shop.
Well, as much as I would love to say that California was the first one to legalize, it was actually Colorado.
Oh, were they the first?
Colorado was the first to go recreational. They were first to legalize it, and then California was right behind them.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. But California has been on the forefront of a lot of cannabis movements, a lot of progression in making it legal. And of course, there's certain laws and regulations with it still, the amounts, where you can be, how much you can have on you. But yeah, California has definitely been on the forefront right behind Colorado.
Yeah. Weren't they even talking about, like just during this last election, about it being federally legal? Wasn't that going to pass?
They're working on it, but that's something that's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Because even if you own a dispensary or if you own a farm, you still can't have a cannabis-based bank account.
Really?
Because again, banks are federal, and cannabis is not federally legal, so they still technically see it as drug money.
Oh, so that's also why, like, in dispensaries, you have to pay cash, or, they have
You can
ATMs.
pay with your card.
Oh, really?
You can.
Oh.
Yeah.
You could do either way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that. I thought it was, like, strictly cash only.
No. It used to be that way.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, the more and more, as the time passes, things have been becoming more lenient, but technically it's still not federally legal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, for me, like, I think it's super cool, like, what everything happening in, like, Northern California. And for me, like, Burner, the rapper Burner, putting it out there, like, I think he's a fucking mastermind, dude. And I first ended up hearing about Burner through, like, Wiz Khalifa. I think, like, Wiz Khalifa was, like, one of the first people to really go mainstream with it. Actually, nah, man, I'm going to get a lot of shit for that, man. Because you got, like, Cypress Hill. You got fucking, I guess in recent times, man. I don't know.
Cypress Hill, more so of like Be Real,
yeah.
and Burner, they really took it mainstream because of course cannabis has always been underground until it went legal. Wiz Khalifa has definitely been a part of that. But Burner, I mean, he went from working in dispensaries just like I have to now he owns the biggest cannabis company in the world. Multi-million-dollar company, and it continues to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
I was watching an interview with him, and he was talking about how what really ended up making that whole thing blow up was the fact that he put like a brand on the weed. And it's like now everybody wants to smoke cookies. Everybody wants to sell cookies. Like the name cookies has become such a mainstream thing.
It's the face of cannabis.
It is.
It truly is.
It's so ridiculous, man. Like even seeing like I think the name of his YouTube video is like Hempire, and he goes to like different grow dispensaries, indoor, outdoors. Man, I've never been to one in person, man, but it seems ridiculous the amount of plants that they have, the type of like things that they do to crop them down, grow them, lights.
Well, and just the amount of money that goes into actually having a functional and a good production cannabis grow. You know, like you were saying, the lights, the ventilation. I mean, not only just the plants. Like if you start from seed, all the nutrients. You have to have the soil, the pots, the space.
Lots to go into it.
Yeah, it's a science.
It definitely is, especially if you want quality.
Yeah.
You know, you have to know the amounts of nutrients that go into each plant because each plant's a little different. You know, some take more sunlight, some take more of the dark, you know, more cold, more heat. So it just depends on the strain, really.
Yeah, that's so cool. So I remember a few years back when Houston and I, so like right before Midtown here in Reno was like really blown up, we're like, dude, we got to open up a business in fucking Midtown, you know?
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is. So we ended up going and checking out this place that we were interested in buying like the property there or renting it out to start a business. And the guy's like, oh man, if you guys would have came in a few days earlier, I would have been able to get you guys. But now a dispensary came into town and they paid for the next 5 years already.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, what?
Yeah, they just have the money to blow up like that. It's
Dispensaries are multi-million-dollar businesses. You know, it might not look like it from the space that some of them have or the way the inside of them look. But I mean, you got to think the taxes that go with it, the amount of cannabis that they actually buy to resell, and of course, every business there's a markup price.
Yeah.
You know, they have to make their money on
have to
top
make
of
some
what
money.
they've paid for. But yeah, cannabis is a multi-billion-dollar business nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
man.
just looking at their cameras alone, like
Yeah.
the security in the background, they
yes.
zoom in directly in your face. They know,
Yes.
there's
The software, you know, in MJ Freeway is one of the softwares that they run. It counts the weight for you. It, you know, you can go from the scale straight to the computer and it'll bring up the price for you.
What?
Some of them I've even seen if you do, because you know, you have like a gram, you have a half-eighth, an eighth. If you go a little over, some of those softwares can even calculate what extra you have to pay.
So
whether
smart.
it be like 10 cents or whether it be $10.
I didn't know it was like that. I knew in the bartending industry they have like weights on it and they'll like keep inventory based on how much you have in the
It's
liquid.
almost the same thing with cannabis, but that more so comes into when you're purchasing the cannabis versus when they take it in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know either one of those, man.
Yeah.
I thought that, honestly, I didn't even know how they fucking, you know, inventoried liquor. I thought it was just by the bottle.
No, you can either do it by the weight or you can measure how much liquor is still in the bottle.
Yeah, and some bars like they have it by shift as well. So if you're at the shift, they could tell you exactly like how much you're using. And where is it? Like in Utah, they have it automatically like for shots. Like you.
Yeah, there's automatic pour spouts, so you can. There's some of them have different numbers of buttons, but you can push one of the buttons for 1 ounce shot. You can do a double shot, and then it actually goes into the system and it does the inventory for you as you pour.
Yeah, they don't want you getting any more than a shot in Utah.
But that's a lot of places, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, anytime that you over pour, man, you're losing fucking profitability right there.
Well, not only that, if you're over pouring to some of your customers, say they, you know, their limit is 2 drinks. If you're giving them those 2 drinks and 1 drink, you're either going to lose money or you can possibly get in trouble because, you know, of course you have to watch out for people's well-being while you're a bartender. Same thing with a bud tender. So if you're getting someone too drunk, now authorities can come in and be like, oh, hey, you over-poured this person. Now you can get fined.
Oh, shit. I never even thought about that.
So actually the bartender themselves and the bar can get fined.
Oh,
yes.
Crap. So when you moved here to town, I mean, I don't know exactly how it ended up going, but you worked at the Rack for some time, huh?
Yeah. So, you know, I started doing photography out here, but it wasn't constant enough for me to actually make the move. And the way I got the job at the Rack is I actually met my wife through her brother, which was one of the promoters for the Rack. Because I initially talked to him about doing photos. And then once I started working at the Rack, I met my wife, and then for me to fully move out here, I needed to have a full-time job.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't just, oh, hey, I'll have 1 photo job this week and then 1 next week. I needed constant revenue. So then I started working there full-time. I started there right before 4th of July in 2019, and then the bar shut down at the end of January of 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Why exactly did it shut down? Was it just a lot going on?
he was trying to sell the bar.
Okay.
The owner actually wanted to get out of the industry, and me and my wife were in line to actually buy the rack.
Oh, wow.
But there were a lot of legal things that came
Yeah.
up that it wasn't worth it money-wise, and we found out that he was trying to charge us more than what the actual business was worth.
Yeah.
And my wife knows the owner of the building, so we got a little bit more information. So right now it's just put on hold.
Yeah.
We might not go with the Racks location,
Yeah.
but we have other locations that are available when it does come time. But of course, COVID,
Yeah.
I'm not going to put so much money into a business and like, oh, hey, we're shutting down in 2 weeks again. Because as of right now, if you do have a bar, if you're not serving food,
Right.
you can't stay open if they do the shutdown.
Oh.
So it was kind of a blessing in disguise that it didn't work out because, we'd be stuck with so much in rent for a business we can't even run.
Right. Right.
And then therefore that's why I started working with you.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, Vinnie and I work together. It's been good. It's cool. But yeah, man, I mean, that brings up a really good point, man, because if you guys did end up buying it, man, like COVID hitting shortly after that would have put you guys in a really bad situation.
Yeah, and for that location, rent was going to be $16,000 a month.
Yeah. It's a big location.
So,
It's
and the fact that it's downtown, it is a large location. It wouldn't have been feasible for us to do. Like, we wouldn't have been able to get our new house. We wouldn't have been able to get the new car.
Yeah.
So we would have really been screwed if we would have actually took that step. Excuse me. So it was, like I said, a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I've talked to someone that he said he was the owner before. So he didn't have business just because he didn't have people in. He wanted to charge them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, like anybody who went in, he was trying to charge.
Yeah.
And people just weren't wanting to go there.
Well, and the Rack, like when I first started there, they were doing 18 and up on Thursday nights.
Okay.
Which, if you section off the bar or any location where you have drinking, so you have the minors in a sense versus the 21 and up.
The toddlers?
Pretty much, yeah. And, that's how it felt working there because when I started, they were still doing the 18 and up, and it was like babysitting little kids.
Yeah.
Couple underage kids would come in with someone that was above age. They'd come to the bar, buy 3 or 4 drinks. Next thing I know, on the dance floor, I'm seeing 4 or 5 people with a wristband on showing me that you're not of age, and now you got a drink in your hand. Now I got to leave from behind the bar. I got to go babysit you and like either kick you out or make you go to the other side of the bar where you can't order drinks.
Because how much is a fee is that? Like,
oh,
it's
it can vary.
Yeah.
It can really vary.
They can even pull your license away, no?
They can definitely pull your liquor license away, but I'm pretty sure the fine starts at $500, and that's for the bartender. And then, like I said, you can get fined as the bartender, and you can get fined as the business.
Holy shit.
So technically, there's a double fine.
Yeah.
And with the bartenders, it can start at $500, and I'm pretty sure it can go all the way up to a couple thousand.
Yeah.
And it can,
and
depending on how drunk they are, depending on how many people are caught with underage drinking, is how fucked you really are.
Yeah, and if there's a ton of kids,
So, RPD, they kept coming in because, again, they knew that we were doing the 18 and up.
Oh.
So it was literally, you either stop doing 18 and up, or we're going to find the means to shut you down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what that was. So, dude, like... So the Rack, man, it always had a fucking line outside. Every fucking weekend, right? And then you go by there around 12, 1, 2 in the morning, there was always cops. Every fucking weekend.
Yeah.
And it was because of the underage drinking.
Yeah.
And of course that comes down to some bartenders as well.
Right.
It's not just the crowd that was there. But when we have busy nights, we can't monitor every single person that's in that building.
Right.
Because again, you know how big it is in there.
Oh, yeah.
It gets dark in there. You can't necessarily focus on every single person. So we started doing only 21 and up. Now, of course, certain private parties, for like colleges and stuff, we would do the 18 and up still because they would pay for the private party.
Oh, okay.
But now we literally sectioned it off. So all of the 8 or like 21 and under would have to stay over in the bowling area. We would give them towers of water, soda, and stuff like that. And if you were on the dance floor and we caught you with a drink, look, I don't care if you paid X amount of dollars to be in here. Legally, you are not allowed to drink. So my business is not worth you having a fun time with alcohol.
Yeah.
Really?
So
Isn't.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Would you ever see a lot of fights going on in there? Or nothing crazy?
When I first started, there was quite a few.
Yeah.
But again, once we stopped doing the 18 and up, because honestly, it was a lot of the younger kids that would get drunk and they would run their mouth.
Yeah.
And the people they were running their mouth to, you're only going to take so much of someone saying certain things to you.
Yeah.
So, of course, there were a few fights, but it dwindled down to pretty much nothing, towards the end of it.
Yeah.
So it was nice. It got slow, but there were still nights where we would promote extra and we could actually still bring in a nice crowd.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially for the holidays, like Santa Crawl, the Zombie
Oh, yeah.
Crawl.
It's packed. It's so busy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine being a bartender in those times.
It was definitely a lot of work, a lot of moving. You didn't really have time for yourself for anything, but the money was well worth it. Well worth it.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, because we both worked there, Thursday to Saturday night between the two of us, we'd bring almost $5,000 home.
That's awesome.
Shit.
Yeah,
And that's
great
not even
money.
our paycheck.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was definitely worth the money.
Yeah. Yeah. We've definitely known some people in the industry, man, and it's like, holy shit, man. Like, as long as you do your job, man, you hustle it, your Friday, Saturday, and Sundays could fucking pay it all off.
Yeah.
Well, and then, really, too, like, when you get your regulars, building that relationship with your regulars and them wanting specifically to come in to see you, therefore, that brings in more revenue as well.
And you used to bartend at the Rock?
Yeah.
Dude, is it hard remembering, like, drinks and how much alcohol or what alcohol goes into certain drinks and stuff like that?
It kind of becomes routine after a while.
Okay.
Because I did do a little bit of bartending from 21 to 24.
Okay.
But then I stopped, because I wanted to get out of the night industry. I wanted to have a regular life again.
Right.
And then so hadn't bartended up until, middle of 2019. So it did take a couple weeks to remember certain drinks. But we had the bartender's Bible behind the bar.
Yeah.
So if any one of our bartenders, like, hey, I forgot exactly what goes in this, if the customer didn't know, like, hey, give me 1 second, let me double check on this, turn around, look through the book, find the drink. All right, cool, I have all of this. Let's make it for you real quick.
Right.
And then the pours, you usually get it down by count.
Okay.
So, it becomes more routine the more and more you do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, man, because it always seems like, so I haven't drank in fucking years, man, but that's why, to me, I don't know, man. It just seems like you could give me one drink or another drink, it all tastes the fucking same.
Yeah.
Right? I can't tell the difference between
If you really know how to make your drinks, there's some drinks that are like, this doesn't even taste like alcohol.
Yeah.
And then a couple drinks later, you're like, damn, I'm getting a buzz, like, I'm fucked up. Like, so, if you know how to make them correctly, then yes, they definitely taste different.
Yeah, that's true, man. So when you ended up moving here, you went through the Rock. So did that open up the door for you through photography and being able to work at or shoot some of the other places as well?
I was working on it, but me coming out here so late in the industry life, in a sense, because I was working on trying to get a photography job at the Row, Silver Legacy, El Dorado, and going through my wife's brother, because he's a major DJ out here, he has a lot of those connections. In the Row, they were actually looking to contact me. So that was great for me, but of course when I contacted him, he's like, oh, well, I already have a photographer.
Oh,
well, why would
another
you?
one? Yeah.
Right, I'm like, would you like another one part-time, or when you have specific events? And they just never got back in contact with me. So it did open up doors, but then again, of course, because of COVID, it kind of closed those doors because you're not supposed to be within 6 feet of people.
Right.
You're not supposed to be in crowds. So I'm kind of back at square one right now. Looking for new models, looking for new customer base, and of course, once this COVID stuff goes away, I know it'll jump back up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And again, you know, I need to make business cards for Reno or for Nevada because the stuff that I do still have is for California.
Right.
So people see that like, oh, well, how am I going to get in contact with you? Or how easily is it going to be for you to come out here when you live in California?
Yep.
Well, no, I actually live in Sparks.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's definitely getting back there. You know, I'm buying more photography equipment. I'm looking for more models, even product photography. Like, you know, I can do it all.
Right.
Okay.
So in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And scrolling through your Instagram, man, I mean, you definitely have like a pretty diverse portfolio, man. You do, like you mentioned, you know, from weddings to family portraits, single portraits, even a lot of the product placement things that you were doing as well, man. What would you say is your favorite out of all of it?
My favorite still would be night photography.
Okay.
Playing with the steel wool, doing a lot of the light painting. Because at that point, you can really create your photo. Versus like, hey, pose this way and then try to use just the background. Which, of course, it all comes down to creativity. You know, because you can use this counter space over here as long as you have the right clothing, the right makeup, the right lighting. So it really just comes down to what my eye catches.
Right.
But to this day, my favorite is night photography.
Yeah. Didn't you say, you know, a few weeks back, you had told me that you had almost got pulled over, or the cops were trying to arrest you for doing something like that at night?
Yeah. So I was downtown Sacramento. I was at one of the state buildings.
Okay.
There's a sculpture. It's got a big cement wall on both sides, and the walkway leads down to this big cement ball that is a fountain. So I had my camera set up and I was spinning steel wool. Next thing I know, I hear an engine rev. And, you know, you can kind of tell what engine cop cars have and what, you know, what they don't. So I was just like, shit, like, am I really going to get stopped right now?
Yeah. Right.
Sure enough, I stopped doing the steel wool. I walked back to my camera and here comes two officers walking up. Hey, man, what are you doing? You know, I'm just taking photos. And he's like, well, where's the fireworks? Like, fireworks? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And so I showed him what I was using, and they threatened to give me an arson ticket.
Oh, wow.
And he wanted me to walk him down where I was doing, spinning the steel wool. Have you destroyed state property? Are there any marks? Do I need to charge you? Do I need to arrest you? And I'm just like, really? All for a photo?
Oh, dang.
And literally, like, once I showed him the actual photo in the camera, his whole demeanor changed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool photo. Like, you're doing a great thing, but you got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you went from, like, vandalism to artist. Like,
right away.
Yeah.
But when he hit me with the arson ticket, I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
Like, nothing's on fire. Well, I saw sparks coming out from the outside of the wall. I was like, oh, come on, bro. Like, let's not go here.
Yeah.
But yeah, completely demeanor changed as soon as he saw the photo.
So with like people who aren't familiar with it, like what is it? What do you mean like steel wool? So what is it that you do with it?
So of course you take actual steel wool like you would scrub metal with, and I put it in a cooking whisk, tie a shoestring to it, and where the arson part comes in is you actually do light the steel wool on fire. And then once you start spinning it, all the little pieces of steel wool coming off, those little spark trails, you've messed with it a little bit, so you know what I'm talking about. And every little piece that flies off, when you have it in long exposure, you catch that light trail.
That's so cool.
And you can even do the same thing with like a flashlight. I've used sparklers. I've used LED lights. And I actually found this company. They're called Light Paintbrushes. And they make light paintbrushes specifically for night photography. So yeah, so the light paintbrushes, like I said, I have a lightsaber, you know, so there's a lot of different things for different effects. I have a strand of fiber optic lights. So there's like, I think like 50 to 100 little fiber optic wires on the one. There's a plastic spade. I have a plastic rectangle. So it's all for different effects. You know, if you have a strobe light, that'll also give you different effects versus just a normal flashlight. Or if you don't have the strobe light and you learn timing, you can click it on and off for whatever design you're looking for.
Right. One of the things too that I thought was really cool, man. A friend from a long time ago, he had what they called, I think it was like a pixel stick or something like that. And I think like you would be able to input an image, and then you would set your camera to a long exposure, and you would just move it, and it would record that image like it was doing whatever it was doing. So you could do anything from like, you know, a portrait that you did or pictures that you've taken to different designs or logos and stuff like that.
I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about. And if I do with those, it would be the same thing. You keep your camera on the tripod, but when that stick moves, that's when it produces that image with the different lights.
That's what that is.
Because with long exposure, if you move your camera, if you're not perfectly still or in line with your movement, you'll get like a wave, or you'll get the jitteriness, and it'll become a blurry image.
Dude, I think nighttime photography has been like one of my favorites, man. There's even been times where like friends and I have gone like right off of the freeway, going underneath like the overpass and things like that. You know, cars going by, that type of stuff, man. It's really cool, man. Like, to me, it's like something that's like needs to be explored more. It's almost like graffiti, man. Like that whole like graffiti world, to me, I think is fucking super cool, man.
Well, and with a lot of photography too, you know, of course, the majority is model photography, weddings, or actual setup photo shoots. And where you're saying too, I think night photography definitely should be implicated more into a lot of model photography. Because again, you can create your own image with having a model, or even product photography.
You're onto something.
I've been doing it for quite a while, you know. And again, like I said, for me, being out here in Reno now, it's just finding the subjects, you know, models that can actually have the time to come shoot. And a lot of them too, you know, they already have a photographer that they work with. So it's, hey, can I trust you to give my time to you, not knowing you or seeing that you're a new photographer in the area. But what a lot of things I've ran into as well is people don't really want to pay for photography anymore. Because again, that goes back to the whole iPhone thing. Because, you know, now with iPhones, they have the long exposure. You can change the aperture. You can change the f-stop. So it definitely makes it a little bit more difficult if you're not established.
Yeah, that's true, man. But it's just like, I think from like my experience, man, the whole thing with the photographer, man, it's so much more worth it to pay somebody to be able to do it. Because you could get decent pictures on an iPhone. Actually, you could get really good stuff. The majority of people probably won't, and that's where the skill of photographer comes in. And like Houston was also saying, the post edits. You know, that's where I had the hardest time being able to do post edits. I just don't have the eye for it, man. And you know, it's just having the right hue, the right lighting. It makes all the difference. And you know what's cool about that is like you could get two completely different photographers, put them into the same room, same subject, same model, and they'll come out with two completely different things.
Oh, definitely.
Or you could get one picture, give it to two different people. You get two different, completely different edits.
Definitely. And of course, you know, it definitely starts with having the right lighting, you know, the right settings in your camera. And most photographers shoot in manual, you know. So for me, I change the setting for almost every photo. And of course, if it's the same lighting, the same position, then I don't necessarily have to do too much. But I can face that way and have one set of settings and turn, you know, a half degree that way and have to completely change everything. Where your light source is, if there's any glare. But you can definitely get a huge difference in results from, you know, me or you just with the same camera. You know,
exactly.
It comes down to the eye for sure. But of course, if you have the proper settings, if you have the proper lighting when you're taking that raw photo, there's not too much you really have to do in the editing side of it. Because like for me, I try to get my photos where I really only brighten the color and sharpen the image a little. You know, if I really want to get creative with it, then that's when I'll start changing the colors around, changing the hue. But for the most part, I try to stay as natural as possible. Because then that's when the real artistry comes in and showing that you know how to use your camera.
Guys, so what ended up happening right now is one of our cameras died. Actually, two of our cameras died.
Technical failure.
Batteries. Something went wrong, all right? So we kind of did some adjusting to the cameras. We should be okay, though.
So what do you use to edit?
I use Lightroom
Do
mainly.
you use it on your iPad, just kind of plug it in, kind of, or you...
So Lightroom is an app. I have it downloaded on both my phone and my tablet. And then what I do is I have a card reader, so I put the SD card straight into the card reader, and I can plug that into my tablet.
That's so cool.
That'll pull up every photo that's on that card, and then I can go through and select which photos I would like to throw into Lightroom. I was using Photoshop for a little bit, but then my laptop got stolen. My whole first setup that I had, oh man, I was probably about 10 grand into all of my equipment.
Yeah.
I was at a cannabis event down in San Bernardino, and my camera always stays with me. As you see, I brought it in with me today, and the first 2 days of the event, there just was not worth me carrying my camera around. So the third day, I was like, hey, whatever, I'll leave it in the car. There's a bunch of security, should be okay. Go in, set up the booth, get ready for the event, and one of our workers goes back out to the car, comes back in and says, everything's gone. I'm like, I was confused. What do you mean everything's gone? They smashed out the back window. They took all of my camera equipment. They took our clothes. The girl that was working with us, they took her makeup bag. We had rigs in the car with wax and weed, and they took everything.
Yeah, that's one of the things with California is you don't want anything showing.
Well, I think that's more so of San Bernardino, not necessarily California.
Hey, San Francisco, though, too, man.
Yeah, San Francisco. I mean, well, like you said, really anywhere you go. And honestly, I have an idea of who it was, but I didn't see them do it. So I can't hey, you did that. I know you took my stuff. So I just cut it as a loss and literally started all over. But instead of buying a laptop, I bought a tablet. It's a little bit more portable, a little bit easier to use. But right now I'm in process of setting up my home office again. So I'm going to get another desktop. I have my desk on the way. I'm actually talking to Ben about building me a desktop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that way it's a little bit more cost effective and I can get more so of what I want.
Yeah, and what's good with those type of things too is you could just upgrade any one piece of it next year, graphics card, memory,
right.
Not so much like a laptop where you have set RAM, set processors. Set...
But I mean, and that's, again, why I bought the tablet. It was a little bit cheaper, considering I had to start all over again. Right. And it's a little bit more portable. So now I'm getting my home office set up again. So that way I can actually sit at home. Because for me, a lot of my stuff is on the go. I like to be able to show people how fast I am with actually returning the product, because say we did a photo shoot right here. Before I walk out the door, I can have 5 photos ready for you, edited and sent to you. I like to actually have a quick turnover rate when it comes to that versus a lot of people have to wait, weeks or months to actually get their photos back. And, and I've been through that myself. I've paid for a couple photographers in my day and hey, we're 2 months into it. I understand you have a day job. I understand I'm not your only gig that you had. But I paid you. Where are my photos at? So I like to have as fast of a turnover rate as I possibly can.
That definitely puts you above and beyond a lot of other photographers.
Definitely.
So for a lot of people, through the camera, you can't really see up close to you, but you have a camera tattooed on your face, man.
I do. I have quite a few tattoos. And, I had thought about tattooing my face a long time ago. Like I said, I've tattooed for a little bit. I've been in the tattoo industry for quite a while. I mean, when when I was young, I would sit with my dad while he was getting his tattoos. So I've always been around it. And again, the artistic side of it, it's always intrigued me. But finally, I was like, you know what? I'm doing full-time photography. I have my own business. I think it's time. So I talked to my buddy. He tattooed it, and there's actually a face in the lens of the camera on my face.
Cool.
So like I said, it was just that time. It was the right time. It felt good. Nice. So I went with it.
How long after you started photography did you get that on? So you started about 2015.
I just got this tattoo in 2019, right before I moved out here, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, it was one of the tattoo shops I was doing photography work for.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you haven't gotten a tattoo from me yet. I was like, well,
Yeah.
you got to pay me more, you know. But I ended up doing a couple photos for him, and he didn't have any clients that day. So he's like, if you still want to do it, let's do it. And he also put smile. So when I clicked the picture,
That's so cool.
you know, so.
Yeah. So if it wasn't for the camera, man, what do you think you would have got a tattoo on your face of?
Probably nothing.
Okay.
Probably nothing yet.
You wouldn't have got the Gucci ice cream?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Because, I mean, again, you know, I've been in the tattoo industry for quite a while, and I've always wanted to tattoo my face. You know, it's because eventually I'm going to be from jawline all the way down. I have most of my legs done, both of my arms done, torso's partially done.
Ooh.
So it was more so of, am I still going to be able to get a good job or a good career with having a tattoo on my face? You know, because at first it started with the jobs I was with. Are you okay with me tattooing the top of my hand? Yeah, sure, no problem. And then again, eventually I was like, all right, I'm going to just take the risk. You know, I have my own business and went ahead and did it. You know, I took that leap, and it hasn't held me back from anything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You know, I started in the bar industry shortly after I got it. And then when the bar shut down, I was working at a liquor store. And then that got shut down. So then I applied with you guys, and you guys have absolutely no problem with my tattoos. So here we are.
Oh, yeah,
That's awesome.
man.
All right.
So with 2021, dude, we're already in it. 4 days into it, man. Where do you want to take photography into 2021, man? Where's your project?
Man, I want to take it through the roof again.
Yeah.
You know, I still trying to build clients out here,
Yep.
and you know, again, it's not an excuse. It's not holding me back, but of course, COVID has been a huge hiccup in a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
And you know, my wife, she's got a few medical issues, so the whole COVID thing is more of a problem for me to bring it home.
Absolutely.
Versus just, oh, hey, I can go out and do whatever. Hey, I'll get through it by myself. You know, I got a family to look out for now.
Yep.
So I can't go out and be on the forefront like everybody else is at the moment, because I have other things to worry about. And of course, I have a career right now, you know, so photography is in the process of being built back up. And until then, you know, clients are here and there.
That's awesome. Where can everyone find you?
I have 2 Instagrams. My personal account is Nikon_Vinnie. And then my photography page is _mindful creativity. And that's with a Y, not an I.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll give you guys my information so that way you guys can tag it in the YouTube and everything.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you know, like always, man, we hope that everything goes great for you in 2021, man. We'll end up having to do a follow-up video with you later in the year, man, and see how things have progressed, man.
We're gonna make it happen. There is no if it does happen. You know, failure's not an option.
Absolutely.
So we got to push forward and keep going.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nice.